You and I know Jeff Bezos, among other things, as the richest person on Earth. Or the second richest. It depends on the share price that day. That's Elon giving Jeff the silver medal. Regardless, the man is worth a lot of money.
$1 million.
More like $200 billion. But the financial success of Amazon was far from guaranteed. Amazon.com was founded at a time when no one was buying books on the internet. Well, no one was buying anything on the internet. Yet Jeff Bezos was able to get investors to back him, even though the chances of success appeared to be so low. This is the story of how he convinced those investors. A story of persuasion, influence, and a surprising quirk in human psychology. I'm Shaun Kenny. Welcome to People of Influence. In 1994, Jeff Bezos was working at D. Shaw & Co., a hedge fund on Wall Street. He was 30 years old, married, and was enjoying a steady and substantial paycheck. Things were going very well. He had just been made the firm's fourth senior vice president, and he was due to receive a sizable bonus that year. But then he stumbled across some information.
The wake-up call was finding this startling statistic that web usage in the spring of 1994 was growing at 2,300% a year. You know, things just don't grow that fast. It's highly unusual. And that set me about thinking what kind of business plan might make sense in the context of that growth.
So he decided that he needed to start an online store, but what product would he sell?
And I picked books as the first best product to sell online, which making a list of like 20 different products that you might be able to sell. And books were great as the first best because books are incredibly unusual in one respect, and that is that there are more items in the book category than there are items in any other category by far.
He also needed a business name.
You're thinking of names, right? And you were thinking abracadabra?
Yeah, so the first name of the company was Cadabra Inc., and it comes second half of abracadabra. But when I called the lawyer on his cell phone and said Cadabra Inc., he said, cadaver? And was pretty obvious that wasn't a very good name.
This may not sound like a risky move these days, but let's not forget, this was 1994.
Happy 1994!
This was the year of Speed, Pulp Fiction, and Seinfeld. Notice what these shows were missing? No mobile phones, no computers. People didn't even have computers on their desks at work. I mean, seriously, what were these people doing all day? If you had internet, it sounded like this. If you wanted to search the internet, you had to use Webcrawler or Lycos. Ancient search engines like AltaVista or Excite and even Yahoo didn't even exist yet. This was years before Google came on the scene. No one was buying stuff online, literally no one. On August 11th, 1994, in what likely counts as the very first legitimate online commercial transaction, a man by the name of Dan Cohn, through a website he created called NetMarket, sold one single CD of Sting's 10 Summoners Tales to a friend in Philadelphia. Cohn's friend paid $12.48 plus shipping, and he used data encryption software to send his credit card number securely. This was August 1994. Amazon.com was founded in July 1994, a month before the first ever legitimate online commercial transaction. It's almost like starting a car company before the combustion engine has been invented. Actually, that's a bad analogy. That's been done. The point is, it seems risky. So how did Bezos convince himself that Amazon would be a success? The answer is, he didn't.
And I thought that there was a 30% chance that we might build a successful company. I never thought that we would build what Amazon.com has turned into, and I'm the most surprised person on the planet.
Oh, a 70% chance of failure. Oof. Nevertheless, Bezos went for it. He moved from New York to Seattle and started the business with his own money in a garage with his wife Mackenzie and two coders. Pretty soon, he needed more cash. In 1995, his parents gave him $245,573, a significant portion of their life savings. He was honest about the prospects.
And Jeff Bezos is driving out here going, I'm going to be a billionaire, right?
No. Jeff Bezos is driving out here having gotten his parents to invest in the company, telling them that it's very likely they'll lose their entire investment in the company.
When this money ran out in his first year of business, he looked to other investors. He managed to get $1 million in seed funding from angel investors. The first approximately 20 investors in Amazon put in at about $50,000 each for a stake rounded to 1%. He was honest about how confident he was of success. He told investors the same thing he told his parents. The company had a 70% chance of failing. In June 1996, he raised more money. Again, he was honest about Amazon's prospects. This didn't put off prestigious Silicon Valley venture capital firm Kleiner Perkins, who invested $8 million in Series A. One of the partners of the firm, famed investor John Doerr, was almost immediately convinced to invest upon meeting Bezos. I walked in the door, and this guy with a boisterous laugh who was just exuding energy comes bounding down the steps. In that moment, I wanted to be in business with Jeff. Wow, that's a valuable laugh.
You can hear him coming a mile away.
Years later, he was just as cautious with his predictions about the business.
If we're not one of those important, lasting companies born of the internet, we will have nobody to blame but ourselves, and that we will be extremely disappointed in ourselves. But there are no guarantees. It's very, very hard to predict.
You are making an intense gamble here.
The first one in particular I agree with wholeheartedly, which is that there's no guarantee that Amazon.com can be a successful company. What we're trying to do is very complicated. There's huge execution risk involved. We have a terribly complicated business.
I want to pause this story for a moment to appreciate a couple of things. It's a very rare human quality to be willing to turn your life upside down to pursue a venture that you predict will fail. Bezos isn't entirely alone in this. This is Elon Musk talking about SpaceX.
The odds of me coming into the rocket business, not knowing anything about rockets, not having ever built anything, I mean, I would have to be insane if I thought the odds were in my favor.
And this is him talking about Tesla.
I was actually always fairly pessimistic about the outcome of Tesla. I thought, maybe 10% chance of success. And we came very close to failing many times. So I never really thought before it actually happened that it would be that successful.
Of course, comparing Bezos' risk tolerance to Elon Musk doesn't make it any less rare. Just as perplexing, though, is how Bezos convinced his investors to back him when he was so open about his lack of confidence in the company's success. This does seem to defy common sense. It was President Lyndon B. Johnson, famous for his powers of persuasion and influence to get things done within Congress, who said, "What convinces is conviction. Believe in the argument you're advancing. If you don't, you're as good as dead. The other person will sense that something isn't there, and no chain of reasoning, no matter how logical or elegant or brilliant, will win your case for you." This sounds fair. So is Jeff Bezos an anomaly? Julia Galef, in her 2021 book, The Scout Mindset, offers an explanation. Great book, by the way. Highly recommend it. Also, big fan of a podcast, Rationally Speaking. Shout out to you, Julia. Galef points out that there are two different types of confidence. And when trying to influence, persuade, or lead others, one of them matters more. There is social confidence, which is being self-assured, comfortable in your own skin, at ease in social situations. This would include, for instance, being confident enough to laugh uproariously.
How about the laugh?
It's something I've always had. No, it's unique in the family. I embarrass them at movies,
Or have strong eye contact. His eye contact made me think of this. Then there is epistemic confidence, or epistemic certainty. How sure are you that something is true? For example, if Bezos had claimed, "I am 100% sure that Amazon will be a success," that would be high epistemic confidence. Another example is every time Charles Barkley makes a basketball prediction.
No doubt in my mind.
You want to guarantee it?
Guaranteed.
According to research Galef cites in a book, an analysis she has conducted herself, when it comes to influencing others, what matters most is social confidence. Lacking social confidence will undermine you more than lacking epistemic confidence.
Sharks, based on our consumptions,
Sharks, based on our consumptions. Oh my God. It's pizza.
Don't worry. Take a breath.
Sorry, guys. Sharks, based on our research.
This Jeff Bezos story is obviously a good example of that. He was perceived by investors as having high social confidence but low epistemic confidence.
And I thought that there was a 30% chance that we might build a successful company.
This makes me think back to that first year of Amazon and the conversations Bezos was having with potential investors, trying to convince them that an online bookstore was a good idea. Surely some potential investors did turn him down, but there were approximately 20 investors who were each persuaded to hand over $50,000 for about 1% of the company. In his pitch, Bezos had predicted that Amazon sales would reach $74 million by the year 2000. In fact, sales reached $1.64 billion in 1999 alone. Each of those investments would now be worth approximately $16.71 billion, representing a roughly 334,200 times return. I mean, that's crazy. So maybe Lyndon Johnson was half right. Conviction is important. Confidence is important. But maybe we don't have to pretend to others that we know the answer when we don't. Maybe we don't have to pretend that we can predict the future when it is uncertain. Instead, can we have a conviction, a confidence in ourselves, in our own abilities to deal with the future, to deal with uncertainty? And can we successfully communicate this confidence to others?
It's just incredible. What's really incredible about this is that this is day one. This is the very beginning.